Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and welcome back to Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2019. 2019. It's episode 19. We've gone past 2019 a little bit. It's 2022 now, and it's College Basketball 2022. Well, anyway, before we start games with the new season, I'm actually in early preseason right now. I've got a lot of time to navigate and get us to the actual start of the year, which of course means recruiting. We will take a look at the recruits that are into us and kind of go from there before we get into the season. But first, let's start by looking at my development as head coach, as we obviously have had our update by now and we're into the new season. I don't know what. This is completely broken in this game. I have done a ton of scouting. A ton of scouting. I have done live scouting. I've scouted film thousands of times, and my scouting is still a 1. I don't know what's going on with it, why it does not develop at all. In fact, I think enough so that I need to get on the forum and ask ask Gary why is that. Anyway, player development is up to a 10, so it's making progress. It's not good, but it's up to a 10. It's double digits at least. Offensive skills barely improving from last year. It's a 7. I think we were at a 5 last year. And defensive skills has hit double digits. It's a 10. Those seemingly are going to take a while. Remember the last 2 seasons we had a very small schedule. There was no playoffs for us. There was no tournaments for us for promotion playoffs, league tournaments, nothing. Limited schedules. I can understand why those two didn't develop as much. But the one that's, of course, important in the short term is recruiting. And we are nearly to a 20. We're at 19 now. And that is some definite progress. So in a couple of years, I don't think we'll see it next year, but in 2 years from now, we should actually see 2 stars in that department. And that's good. We're only entering our 4th year, and we're already getting to the point where we're going to start to see things improve. Will we see another Darius Q this season? I don't know about that. I think we were pretty lucky getting Darius Q this early on in things, but we'll sooner rather than later see a lot of Darius Qs coming in. By the way, if you ever find yourself in this game in a tight budget situation where you just don't have money to spend on scouting packages, and then you know nothing about any players, not just about their skill set or anything along those lines, where you don't even know anything about their interest. The way to get around that one is add them to your call list. When you add them to your call list, you will get that feedback the following week. And then you can just start going through and eliminating. So what I've done at this point is I added all of the Oregon players, being that we're in Oregon, and then I've started adding all of the Washington players as well. And then through regular scouting means, you'll get that information, that evaluation of them. And you can see at this point we have 4 players that are interested. And we did not have 4 a week ago, by the way. We had 3 from Oregon. The 1-star guys are all from Oregon. We had 3. So already, my new assistant coach, in just 2 weeks, has talked somebody up. So from no interest to at least some interest. Because this was a list of 3, now it's a list of 4. Now it's a 1-star guy. They're maybe easier to persuade, but still, that is a sign of progress. And I'm expecting more from this assistant coach than what we had with our previous guys. So this is an exciting time for us. Let's see if he can work some magic with the guys higher up this list. Because we might be at a stage now where I'm not necessarily thinking about 1-star players at all anymore. I think we can really start focusing for, 2 reasons. One, these 1-star guys might help us develop my recruiting as a skill, but it has developed. And more importantly, I don't necessarily want to sign these guys because We don't need them to fill that. We don't need them to be bodies on the team anymore. I know that I can get quality players through the transfer portal, and therefore I might as well go after the quality players here and try to replicate signing a Darius Q. Be aggressive, go after those guys, and let these one-star players rot and go to community college as they should, as they would in real life, and not offer contracts to guys who just aren't going to be good enough, and offer the scholarships to the ones who are. Get after this group. Be aggressive with this group. Spend all my time with this group, and maybe somebody in the 2-star range that turns out to be the diamond in the rough that we have a better chance of signing. But yeah, it might be too early to be greedy and go after Darius Q's, but maybe not. Remember, he was in between a 3 and 4-star player. And that recruiting assistant already working more magic just a week later, and we have our first higher end recruit who is now interested, is cool on us. First evaluation is a B. In fact, I think we've looked at him a couple times now. GPA is really low, but again, it doesn't take that much to get into our school. So we'll look pretty closely at this Kaluko. First evaluation is very balanced and a fair bit of quality kind of across the board, and for us that could be a big time player. I mean, that's somebody you want to sign. And with a low GPA, a lot of schools are going to be a pass on him, as he won't pass for the standards that they need. His SAT score is going to be probably pretty low, and that's going to rule out a ton of options. A lot of better schools. I kind of hate that we are such a weak school academically, because I would much rather recruit based on academics. I'd like to have that angle available, but it's not. And without it, it means we're getting this type of player. And at that sort of GPA, he might struggle to keep eligibility at the collegiate level, but, could make him an available prospect, and for us that's probably a good thing, right? So we enter the first contact period, and I have done the work to cut the list down from low 30s. I think we had 31, 32 guys, down to 17. I have eliminated a lot of choices because they absolutely cannot defend for the life of them, and I'm ready to be into that next phase, right? We really focused on that in the transfer portal entering this season, getting guys who could defend. And I think that's pivotal going forward, and being more selective. Now, by being more selective, I am making life harder on myself, because I am down to, even though I was up to, I think I've gotten a total of 6 or 7 players from originally a list of 3. I'm up to about 7 guys that are cool in terms of interest. But by cutting the list down, my assistant's going to start focusing more on the guys that are here. And he has gotten us 1 in Kaluko. Kaluko was a 3-star guy, now a 4-star guy. His ranking moved up quite a bit. I think it moved up a little too high in terms of scouting. He's not that good, but he's well-rounded, and he absolutely would be a good fit. I mean, he plays good defense, and you can see he's got a lot of B's here, and where some of those are probably not going to be that great in the end. This is a player that can play. This is a player who absolutely can play. I mean, he's scoring well in high school. It's whether he qualifies or not that's going to be a bit of an issue. But he's got our one and only scholarship offer at the moment. But now that we're in the contact period, I feel like I need to make a decision on some of these guys short term and get after them. But by eliminating all those other choices, the only one who's coming in with a low rating in terms of quality is Morant. But Morant, it's the athleticism, it's the shot blocking, stealing, ball hit. He's terrible in a few categories. But it's a center that can defend, that will score inside, that will score a lot of points, and is going to get some rebounds. So he's got an incomplete game, but he's strong in a few areas. And for our level, he could really excel in those few areas. It's still absolutely contribute, even though he's been hovering between a C plus and a B minus in his rating. He is top 700, so for us, that's a pretty good player. GPA issues with him as well. I think we have GPA issues with Brownlee. We'll have to watch out for him. Serpin. There's 4 or 5 guys on the list that have some concerns regarding grades and whether they'll qualify through the SATs. Of course, we won't know till January whether they actually qualify or not, but it hasn't been an issue for us before. I think Brownlee's the first one that's got a great chance of failing to meet the requirements. All right, so the 4 guys that I'm going after here in round 1 of contact are the 3 best on the board. Tony Day, Kaluko, of course, and then O'Connor, and then I'm adding in Brownlee. Brownlee, I think we stand a better chance at because a lot of schools are going to back off on the SAT thing, and giving it a shot, being the only one going after him, being that he is from Oregon, we stand a better chance. As a shooting guard, he's not a good inside scorer. He's not a great defender, but for us, good defender. And then he's an outstanding outside shooter and is going to do a lot of other things well. He'd be a good, solid contributor if he qualifies. And again, I think we stand a better chance of getting him, even though he might not like us a whole lot. If we can at least get him cool, there's a chance that he would accept, because immediately there's a decision from 2 guys. I would assume that's not going to go our way. Tony Day, UCLA. I need to get that adjusted so that it says UCLA instead of Cal Los Angeles. But yeah, UCLA, much bigger school coming in with an offer. Makes perfect sense. And Kaluko, Gonzaga. Yeah, I'd say yes to them too if they offered me a scholarship. Makes perfect sense that those 2 opted for much bigger programs than ourselves. So our main guy, our main target for the moment is out. But what about the other guys? Brownlee? Okay, we had a good visit. So Brownlee is trending the right direction. And like I said, he might not get too many offers. He may not qualify for us, but I do like our chances of getting him if he does qualify, because I think he won't qualify to a lot of schools and won't get too many offers. O'Connor, nothing. Okay, so O'Connor's not looking good. And then, of course, these guys. The Kaluko one did go well. Unfortunate on that for us that he has opted to go to a much bigger program. But it's still a sign of progress that I was able to get 50% of our guys to actually have a positive outcome. That's something. We don't normally get 2 out of 4. We get 1 out of 4 or 0 out of 4. With 4 players left on our list that I rate at a B, that seems the natural thing. Go for the best talents we can get, because guaranteed we're not going to be signing all 4 of these guys. Not even close. So we might as well go for the best talent and then worry about, through transfer portal, how to fill out the roster that way, because I seem to be doing pretty well there. So here, go for the best. That's the plan of action for the next handful of years, as we've progressed from just get whatever you can to now go for the best. So our non-conference schedule this year is going to have 4 home games, 7 road games. It's still a better balance than what we had last year and is realistic for the level we're at. We are not good enough to invite too many programs to come to our school. So it makes perfect sense to me that we are going to spend more time on the road than at home. And of course, for the RPI, or for the net ranking, it's going to give us a bit of a boost if you win some of those road games. If we come out of it 4-7, it means we got to play that much better during the conference schedule to be plus 500 this season. And for me, that's my short-term objective, is I'd like to see us have a season over 500. But realistically, we're thinking about climbing the ladder, right? Maybe not. Maybe not yet. But this could be our year. There's definitely some talent on this squad. I just don't know quite how good they are. Obviously, we've seen a huge uptick in terms of the quality of our defense, where we went from guys that were barely making 20 to high 20s to a couple players in the 30s, and all of a sudden I've got guys in their 50s and high 30s, numerous players. So our defense is going to be significantly better. And you start pulling out 4 points, 6 points a night from your opposition, you're going to win a lot more games. And 2 more players immediately with my decisions, and only one of those was already cool, so I assume that they've gone somewhere else. Washington for Robinson, Oregon State for Venner. The visit went well with Venner, so there's a success. That's another positive sign that we are getting successes. O'Connor, second time in a row, nothing doing on him, so it's probably smart if we move on from O'Connor. You give it 2 shots, and if they still don't like you, they're probably not going to like you the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th time, so move on. But, the first one could just be, we're not that good at recruiting. Try again. I think this guy just straight up doesn't like us. Brownlee? Visit went well, so we are continuing to have success. We might be onto something with Brownlee, but again, there's that caveat that he may not even qualify. But we are 50%, second time in a row, that we are getting somewhere in terms of these visits, in terms of the recruiting. It's definitely better than what we've done in previous seasons, but right now it's clear that we're not going to get a Darius Q this year, as our top targets are gone. They've immediately signed with bigger schools. We got so lucky with Darius Q. We really did. But Brownlee could be a pretty good player. He's just not a Darius Q, but we seem to be on our way with him anyway. My list is about to get a whole lot shorter, though. Stadmark, Morant, and Cook all opting for schools. Looks like we got a UCLA here with Strandmark. So that's another 5 players coming off list, which means we are about to be down to, it looks like, 10. So pretty short list here, but that's going to give my assistant a lot of focused work. These guys are all B minuses. So there is some quality there other than O'Connor. So maybe I do need to stick with, I don't know. Sticking with O'Connor just doesn't make a lot of sense when it's clear he's not interested. So I do think, honestly, we need to move on from O'Connor. Either he doesn't care about location, or it's not enough of an impact. He's from Washington. We are Oregon. So he cares just enough, or he really just doesn't like us. Whatever the case may be, or we don't have a high enough rating to get through to somebody like him. Maybe he's a bit stubborn. Whatever the case may be, I think we're out of luck with O'Connor. We need to cut ties, and while we still have a chance to do some recruiting, cast a wider net, right? But Brownlee looks good, and then we'll look through the other candidates because they're all coming in at kind of B minus range. So pick who we want to get after yet again and get on with that program. Brownlee, by the way, he's not hot, he's warm, but we are number 1 on his list. I have a feeling that others just really aren't going to be that into him with that GPA. So I think we have a great chance of getting Brownlee. Just I'm not so sure he's going to qualify. Even if he doesn't, that's okay. I mean, if he commits, that's great. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But, that's a solid player. He just doesn't shoot inside. Fantastic athleticism, really strong outside shot, plays defense, can handle the ball fairly well. I mean, he's a shooting guard, not a point guard, but he's going to get plenty of assists. He's going to score. That is a good player for our level. And I think there's a great chance that we could get him. I just, one thing. Picked out 3 new targets, guys that could offer something Uh, Remember, I already whittled the list down, but from here, there's still guys that stand out to me a little bit more. Norwood was one of the ones I went after, and he is going to play in Washington. Uh, Brownlee has picked our school, so we got him. We got our man, and we're going to have to keep fingers crossed in January to see whether we get to keep our man, though. Walcott's one of the ones I went after. Can't see himself playing for us. Okay, Norwood. Norwood was a success, even though he picked somebody else. Tackett, another one we just went after, and he can't see himself playing for us. Brownlee, thought it went really well. But again, all 3 weeks of contact, we have had a 50% success rate. And that is it's huge compared to, I mean, that's 6 successes. That is generally what we've gotten in a season in its entirety. We still have one more contact week now, plus at the end of the season. So, yeah, we're definitely going the right direction here. And practice is finally ready to begin, but we still have one more contact week. Dang. Norwood was looking like a pretty good option, too. I mean, he's a center who can rebound, who can shot block, who's going to score, and was okay on the defense. All of these guys have some sort of weakness. None of them are outstanding. But again, for our school, that's to be expected. At location was number 1 on his list. So we really could have done well. But as a local kid, Washington comes in as just about local and way more prestigious. Makes perfect sense. All right, so we're going to give a second chance to Tackett and Walcott. This is how they look. Tackett, great defender. That's the main thing we're going after with him, but he can score. Walcott, great defender. Not going to score inside well, but as a point guard, he could actually run the offense, I think, better than anybody we've had previously, if he actually lives up, to this. But he's going to score from the outside. Not very athletic, so he's going to be kind of slow, though. That's a little worrying. I had one of those on my varsity team this year. He was the last guy that I picked. I needed a second point guard. I had one. Very athletic, very good talent. Unfortunately, not much of a team defender, good individual defender. And he cost us so many points because whenever he was off ball, standing around. But anyway, too slow. The athleticism just wasn't there. Could handle the ball, could pass, could score. Did score for us. But the defense, because of how slow he was, really hurt us, which meant both of my point guards were a little off this past season for the boys. Anyway, Serpin, next one I'm going after, and you can see how well-rounded he is. It's a center. He's slow, but you can get away with that more with centers. And he's not going to make free throws, but neither did Shaq. And he's not going to steal the ball, but outside of that, he's going to get a decent amount of rebounds. He's a very good inside scorer, and is going to play good defense. And for us, that's kind of what we can hope for. All right, well, no success this time, and we're down to a very short list. So it looks like chances are it's Brownlee, and that's it. We do have virtually a whole season ahead of us, though. So one thing I could do is it might be time to venture into, like, say, California or Idaho, Nevada, and start recruiting a little bit broader in the West and getting after their big-time recruits, their 3-star and above kind of guys, and seeing if the assistant with his 60 recruiting can't work some magic. Because, again, Brownlee was one of those kind of guys. Brownlee was one of those guys that we made some progress with. You know what? Actually, Brownlee was somebody that I got after just myself. The guy we were after was Kaluko. Kaluko was the one that the assistant did his work on. So I actually was solely responsible on the Brownlee one. But again, I think some of that's that recognition that he's got such a low GPA, and a lot of schools just weren't going to step in and offer. And, we still may not get him. There's a great chance that we're not going to get him, that he's not going to qualify. One thing I haven't done is really take a look at how we're progressing. So remember, the initial team that I took over was based in, I think, Chicago. It was Illinois, either way. And so the players, none of them were local to us. So as we moved location, as we set up the Olympic Decathlon rings to start this thing, we didn't have any pipeline advantage at all. No pipeline advantage whatsoever. So that's something that's going to take time to build up. And because we're getting most of our players out of the transfer portal, they're coming randomly from anywhere, everywhere, and not from Oregon. So have we gotten anything going pipeline-wise? Have we gotten that boost to recruiting? Well, we have a guy from Washington in Archie, so that's a transfer portal guy. Babel is from Oregon, so we do have one there. Darius Q is from Oregon, so that's a couple guys from Oregon. But these guys aren't local. Byron Hammond is a recruit that we brought in. Okay, that's 3 from Oregon. Steven Jennings as a walk-on. I don't know if that counts. Kenny Kelly, walk-on. So I don't know if that counts. That would be 5. Kalakatrotis is an international guy from Greece. Ty Malone is the other walk-on. So that's 3 walk-ons from Oregon, plus 3 scholarship players from Oregon. Illinois, Idaho. Damon Robinson is from Oregon, so that makes it 4 scholarship players. 4 from Oregon, plus 3. I don't know what pipeline requires. Is it 5? Is it 3? Is it 4? I'm not sure how much it requires to actually establish a pipeline within a state. I want to say it's 5. I'm not quite sure if we're there yet or not, based on the walk-on aspect of things. 3 local kids are on the roster, but non-scholarship, so may or may not count pipeline for us. No 50% this time, but we do get 1 success, even though he didn't show up. I know why. Serpin was the one that was positive, and Serpin is the one who accepted a scholarship to Montana. So, okay, now I know why he didn't show up as cool. First time we only got 1 out of 4, but that was really good. I mean, that was 7 successes out of 16 attempts in that 4-week span. That is by far our best. By far. The best we've done with that. And even though we only got 1 guy, and it was 1 guy that we might not even actually get, I'm still happy with where we're at. Because again, if we don't get these guys, we've got the transfer portal. We'll be fine. We will be okay. I know how to navigate the transfer portal and find some really good players. And that's why I'm okay shifting our focus now to getting the best talents. We were going after the best talents. And we made progress with these guys. The downside is that others came along and offered scholarships, and they were just better options. And it makes sense that they don't pick us. But we did get 1 guy, so it's not like it was all for naught. Next time out, we're going to be kicking off the regular season. I'll finish getting through this stretch where we practice and prepare for the year and get into games. But just quick look at the dashboard. One little thing before we get started. I want to show you this. We are on the road at Texas Christian, TCU, for our season opener. We are 89% favorite to beat TCU. TCU is not a small program. They are, I don't know where they're at right now. TCU is Conference F. Now, my scouting says we have an 89% chance of winning. Their scouting says they have a 51% chance of winning. I think I'm going to trust their scouting a lot more than ours. But we are going to be on the road for that game. And TCU thinks that they only have a 51% chance of winning with a home court advantage. Take that and know what you will about it. Now, from my perspective, they're all looking at half stars. I'm guessing that my scouting just sucks. But they think that they're going to just win. And they're in Conference F. A, B, C, D, E, F. 6. They're in the 6th tier. We're in the 22nd tier. They are way, way above us. And the trusted scouting says on the road, we've got an almost 50% chance of winning. Oh yeah. If that's the case, you better believe we're going to win some games this season. I told you we're getting better. And I don't know how good we're going to be. I don't want to, overplay my hand here, but I like our chances this season of getting the ball rolling, right? It's taken a few years to build, but I have a feeling we could start climbing the ladder just a bit. That's going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.